Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Today we have Darren Hermans, our Director of Product Line Management, who is going to be speaking today about the residential home access portfolio. We're going to give people a couple more minutes to join and then we'll get started. All right, everyone. We have Darren Hermans, Director of Product Line Management, who's going to be talking about residential home access portfolio. So, Darren, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Olivia. So you can hear me okay? Am I coming through loud and clear?
Yep.
All right, excellent. So thank you all for joining. This will be a relatively short update today. This will largely be an update from a presentation we gave in June, right about 2 months ago, on the residential portfolio. So some things are updated and some things are not yet updated. We still owe all of you some updates that we're not able to provide today. Please do ask any questions that you have. I may not have the best answer right now, but I will do my very best to provide you with the latest information for any of your questions that you might have. So a key thing of today's agenda is an update on what our 2020 plans are to revamp the entire residential portfolio, and we will make major changes in the portfolio starting at the very end of 2019 and all the way through the first half of 2020. And we think these changes are going to be positive for you and your business. We've made some changes based upon feedback that we get from the field, based upon things that you post in the community forum, and we've been working hard for several months now, actually about 6 months, on how do we revamp the entire residential portfolio to modernize it, to upgrade it, and to bring it into the new decade. Second thing, we'll talk a little bit about the CAF 2 speed testing requirements and what your options are to meet those speed test requirements today. So you'll have two options from Cambium. Actually, you have one option from Cambium guaranteed right now, and then you have two options coming in the short term from Cambium for CAF 2 speed testing. And then we need your feedback. So please do not hesitate. So Olivia, let's go on to the next slide, please. So just in a, no, it looks like it cut off some of my, there it goes. There filled out the rest of the screen. Okay. So we had covered this information before on the portfolio. And with the release of the R195, which you see right in the middle there, which is now available finally, the R195 starts shipping in September, and it's available for partners. The public launch will be the first week of October, targeted for October the 4th to public launch the R195, and that is a Wi-Fi only access point. Home gateway, Wi-Fi only, dual radio, 11AC. Key thing about it, it has GigE ports, no more fast Ethernet ports. You should always avoid fast Ethernet ports if at all possible, because in this day and age, with auto negotiation status the way it is, you'll get better performance with GigE ports negotiating to other GigE ports. Less issues, less truck rolls for you guys. So stick with the R195 as your entry level 11AC dual radio. The R201 continues to be a strong producing product in the market, but it has been out for several years. So in Q1 2020, we'll be launching an R195P, P as in power. And the R195P, you could think of it as a replacement for the R201. It's kind of like a replacement. It has basically the same features: dual radio, 11 AC, two voice ports, Cambium power out, and Gigi ports. So the R195P comes out, it'll be the same list price, and we think it'll be an upgrade for your networks. You notice the R195P looks a little bit different. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So that's a quick summary of what we have coming out in the immediate future. Next slide, please. So again, here's the 195. It'll be available launching October 4th. You should be able to start placing orders. You'll see the marketing bulletins come out in the next 2 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks, you'll see the marketing bulletins on the 195W. So be prepared for that to be released and available. So it has the things you normally expect. A couple of high gain antennas, so 5 dBi gain external antennas. We used external antennas on this product because, again, we're trying to keep the cost down and make that our entry-level, high-performance entry-level product into the market. Next slide, please. Now look at the 195P as in power. This expected delivery is Q1 2020. You notice immediately that it does not use the internal antennas. It uses, external antennas. It uses internal antennas. So we put a lot of effort into building some high gain internal antennas into the R195P. This modernizes it a little bit, and it looks a little bit better. Still can be mounted. It can be used on a desktop. It can be mounted inside of a wall cabinet, inside of a wiring cabinet that's in the wall space. Has extended temperature range up to 50 C, well tested, so that we can support those different use cases. So the R195P will become our utility access point. It's the one that I expect this one to be a pretty high run rate, really pretty high seller in the market, because it has all the functionality that our partners need. It has the 30 volts power out, so you can power up a subscriber module. Has the dual ATA ports for voice, and that's still a requirement in many parts of the North America market. So it's still a really attractive feature to have those ATA ports. So the R195P will be our dual purpose, our multi-purpose utility access point with internal antennas. You notice the MSRP price still same as the R201, so we're keeping the same price point, but providing a little bit more modern, a little bit better and newer access point, newer product. So over time, you can expect that the R201P will start to fade away and will start to go to end of life. Now, end of life decisions on the R201P will happen at some point in the end of 2020. We expect that to continue to sell through the year 2020, but really the business conditions and the reaction to this new R195P will largely dictate the plans for the R201. But we do expect to give you folks an option here to consider. Next slide, please. So relative positioning. Now, I really hoped, and I had really hoped to be able to tell you about what's going into those yellow boxes, but I cannot. I cannot tell you about what goes in those yellow boxes today. But that is my one of my number one priorities. Of course, every priority is number one, right? But one of my number one priorities is to fill in those 2 yellow boxes and give you guys what we are doing, tell you what we are doing to flesh out this portfolio. You'll notice we're covering high and low in the portfolio. So we're coming out with something at the lower price point in the portfolio and something at the higher price point and the higher performance. And we have special stuff in both of those boxes. So I apologize, pushing really hard, but I was not able to get updated status for you for this webinar today. I expect to have updates next month in September. So we are finalizing the review of these products. They've gone through extensive engineering review. extensive factory reviews. In fact, I just got off a call before this webinar with one of our engineers that was doing a factory inspection for what's going to fit into those two yellow boxes right there. So we're doing some different things than we've done in the past, putting factory reviews and factory analysis early into the product development life cycle, so we can help to improve quality and performance when we release the product. So please stay tuned. I know it's a disappointment to see those yellow boxes there with TB announced, but I will fill that in very soon. So the R195P, as I mentioned, is in development, and it's scheduled for release in Q1. We'll have an update in about a month that folks can take a look at on all these portfolios. Let's look at the next slide, please, Olivia. Thank you. So CAF2. CAF2 has got a lot of people a little bit worried, but it's not. It's all reasonable stuff. The CAF2 requirements are not unreasonable. So they do require that the service selects random clients from each tier of service. So if you offer 2 tiers of bandwidth, you got to select random clients from each of those 2 tiers. If you have just 1 tier, then it's just select random clients from your single tier. You have to change them every 2 years. So you can see the specs here. 7 days per quarter, so basically 1 week every quarter for very short bursts of test. Hold on a second, let me cough here. Okay, I'm back. All right, so you'll see that they want you to test about 1 week per quarter in the peak time usage hours. That's between 6 p.m. and midnight. That's peak usage. That's the times when people are using their broadband connection the most. There is some provisions within the spec to allow you to defer some of those tests, particularly if people are doing heavy usage of streaming Netflix video. You're allowed to delay the test by some time during those kinds of conditions. There's some allowance for that within the spec. They want you to test about 10 to 15 seconds, which is a pretty short burst of test, and then record the results. Latency is measured by the packets that are being transmitted during the test time, during that 6-hour test time, and you have to report the results of that as well. So there are different products out there that will do this type of test. One of the things that they are going to require is our TR0143. Now, 143 is not a solution, and I get that. I get that question a lot from our RSMs. And 143 is not a solution. It is a protocol. It's a protocol. So it's a protocol that companies such as yourselves or even third-party companies that sell a testing solution, they can build a management suite of protocols, a management suite of solutions around these protocols. So 143 is part of the TR069 management suite. So talk to your vendor for your TR069 and see if they can support the 143 as well. This is available today on all of the residential products. So the R190, 200, 201, 195, we can support the 143 protocol for CAF2 speed testing. So fully compliant to the solutions that will deliver the CAF2 compliant solution. Another option is Router Limits. Now, Router Limits is a company that Cambium is partnering with to provide parental controls in a very easy way to manage parental controls. Router Limits, as part of their solution, they support these CAF2 speed requirements, and they have the testing capabilities on their platform for CAF2 speed tests. It is available in beta now. If you want to beta Router Limits, let us know. Drop me an email, and I'll forward you to our engineering staff that's managing that beta software. The official release of the Router Limits supported code is under review with our executive staff, and it will be released soon. I hope within the next few weeks we'll be able to officially release the Router Limits support on the residential portfolio. So that option is coming. Additionally, Cambium is looking at building a CAF2 compliant speed test application suite as part of cnMaestro. And that's another thing that we're looking into doing, and we have some specifications written around that out to our engineering teams to review. If you think that's a good idea, if you think that it's a good idea for Cambium to put CAF2 speed test requirements into CN Maestro, where it randomly selects the clients, performs all the tests, creates all the reports, and then keeps the data so you can look at it later. If you think Cambium should do that, please let us know. Drop me an email, even in the Q&A box if you want to just drop a quick yes there. We should probably have, Olivia, we should have had a survey question here. Is this a good idea or not? I didn't think about that before. I should have done that. So if you think this is a good idea, let me know, please. You can say yes in the Q&A box. You can just drop me an email after the meeting as well if you think about it a little bit further. So we are definitely considering that. I need your feedback. I need your input on whether that's a good idea for Cambium to develop that CAF2 speed test application as part of CN Maestro. Next slide, please. All right, so we are still working on the Alexa Skills official release time. It's in beta, but we do not have a official release date for Alexa Skills to be available on the residential product. And I'll keep pushing engineering and give you an update. Hopefully, I'll be able to get an update next month when I give you the updates on the rest of the open items for this webinar today. CN Maestro-based speed test release. This is what the question I was just asking you about. Is this a good idea? We will let you know as soon as we can as to whether that's something that we can do, and whether or not we have a schedule to deliver that feature. The nice thing about that is it would be part of the same management console, the same cloud dashboard that you use to manage the broadband connectivity and the residential access points, all in the same console. Templates has been requested since before I started at Cambium. I've been here for 1 year, and our series templates have been requested for a long time. That also is planned to come back in September 2019. So it looks like I have a big update for you guys in about a month. Next slide, please. Thank you, Inez, for by the way, for responding about the speed test, CAF2 speed test. All right, so that's the end of the update that I have for you today. Again, it was a short update today, but I want to make sure I've let you folks know what we are doing. And please let me know if you have questions. Let's take them now in the Q&A box. If the questions don't come now, if you're thinking about something later on, please do email me, darren.hermans@cambiumnetworks.com, and I'll be glad to answer questions that you guys have on this portfolio or any other questions. If you want to offer feedback, please do let me know. I want to make sure that we exchange this information with you. Hang on a second. Oh, let's cancel that guy. All right. Sorry about that. I should have turned my phone to silent mode. Let me do that. You should always do that before a webinar. Okay. So any other questions that we can answer for you today about the residential portfolio as we move into 2020? Yes, Inez, that's correct. It is Darren, D-A-R-A-N .Hermans, H-E-R-M-A-N-S. That is the correct email address at cambiumnetworks.com. Olivia, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay.
And thank you very much all for joining us.
So thank you, Darren, for speaking about this today. There will be a recording of the webinar available later on YouTube as well as our community, along with the presentation slides. And it doesn't look like there's any other Q&A questions. But if you have to contact Darren, again, his email is darren.hermans@cambiumnetworks.com. Thank you to all the attendees for joining us today, and have a good day.